taklif qilganmiz. Nurafshon shahridagi Prezident maktabida o'quv ishlari bo'yicha direktor o'rinbosari juda ham yaxshi speaker, foydali tajribalari bilan, o'zlari taqdimotlari bilan bo'lishadilar bugun sizlar bilan. Today we have a special guest from the Presidential School, Mr. Yamani Seyd Mehrdad. The floor is yours.
Okay. Hi everyone and good evening. So my name is Mehrdad. I am the academic director and also the math teacher in the Presidential School in Nurafshon. Thank you for having me today. Actually, the question is that why am I here? I'm going to have a speech about the startup. I have some experience in this basically field. I had like few startups. They are not huge, but I had few startups, so I thought I could share some of my ideas with you on how to start a startup and also how to make it work effectively. So before I continue, since we are like, this is a huge room, so I cannot like make you groups. That's why our interaction is just going to be hands up and hands down. So I hope that you are not tired after today. You had a restful evening and also a good iftar so that we can have a fruitful and interactive session. So before I continue, I would like to ask you a question. Can you think about one application that would solve an annoying problem? Can you please think about this for 1 minute, and then I would like to have some volunteers to tell me your response. So just think about one application that you would have or you would design in order to solve an annoying problem for you. So can you please think about that? You can think about in pairs as well. There is no problem, and then I would welcome some of the responses as well. Anyone is ready, or you have any? I mean, maybe you already have one application or some ideas that would solve a main problem. Yes, please. Yes. Okay, what type of tickets is that? iTicket Uz. Oh, I see. Okay. So anybody has any other ideas which is yours? Like not the current application that exists, something that you think that it would be good if you have it to solve a problem. Anybody have an idea? Yes?
For example, in my life, it's hard for me to make my brothers to take some medicine, for example.
Mm-hmm.
We can create an app that little children can play a game, and through this game they can take the medicine as like something as a gift, this kind of thing.
Okay, so that's actually, you are done the first step. Yeah, thank you so much. So you have taken the first step. The first step in every entrepreneurship is actually about the idea in order to spot a problem, in order to find a problem. So here is actually the today's agenda, the meeting agenda. We are going to have a warm-up session, and then I will give you some time in order to pick a problem around you. And after that, we are going to design a tiny MVP. So later we discuss about what does it mean by the MVP as well. And also we are going to validate, we are going to see whether the startup that you are going to start, whether the MVP that you have designed, actually it's going to work or not. We are going to see what are the ways in order to find out whether your MVP is effective or not. And then at the end, we are going to have a pitch. I heard that they are going to have some pitch, right? Some of the girls. So that's actually a good idea. Okay, so some rules here. Be kind. Be bold. It means that please interact with me. And also phones are allowed, but only for research. Okay, so not for scrolling. Thank you so much. Okay, so as I said, our method of interaction is going to be hands up, hands down, because there are so many of you here. So first of all, hands up if you already have an idea to start a startup. Okay, and then hands up if you want to start but you are not sure because there are some challenges that you are facing. So what are the challenges? How many categories of the challenges that we can think about? The first thing is that you want to start a startup but you don't have any idea. Second thing is that you already have an idea, but there are some basically problems ahead of you. So you actually have basically the kinds of fear feeling. And then the third one is going to be you want to start, you have the idea, but problem is that you have time management problem and also financial issues, right? So these are the problems in here that makes you unsure to start. And also, hands up if you think startups are only for tech geniuses. Okay, so it's for everyone, right? That's good. Okay, so what does it mean by startup? Actually, when I was making this presentation, I searched about the best definitions of the startup that I can give it to you as an example. There are two of them that I really liked, so that's why I selected here. It's like some kind of quote. So the first one by Mr. Steve Blank, he thinks that the startup is actually a temporary organization that search for a scalable business model. Okay. So the second definition is actually by Mr. Paul Graham, who thinks that the startup is a company that grows fast. That is a very key important word when you basically talk about the startups. Okay, so these are the two definitions. If we want to wrap up the definition, so what we are going to discuss today is actually going to be the startup learning fast plus growing the solution that works actually. Okay, so here we have a lightning quiz. We are going to see what's your opinion, whether you think that these statements are true or false. Okay, so the first statement, you need a perfect idea before you start. False. Great, that's right. So that's what we are going to discuss later on. When we talk about the MVP, minimum viable product, it doesn't mean that you need to have a finished product and everything ready. Just with a simple idea which is not yet perfect, you can start your startup as well. Okay, as we mentioned in the previous slide, the definition of the first definition that I put in here, it's all about searching a scalable basically business model. Okay, so that's all about the startup. So you don't need to have a perfect idea in order to stop. The next one, you need money first. Also false, because having the idea is totally free, right? You don't have to pay anything in order to have the idea. So your first version must be finished. I just mentioned as well. It's false as well, right? You don't need to have a finished product in order to start. And the next one, failure means you are not good at this. It's also false, because as I mentioned, you have to grow fast. So how do you grow? It's actually reflect to your strategy, reflect to your business model, and find out the problems and in order to solve those problems, right? So that's why this is also false. And a startup are only for the tech geniuses, which is also false as well, right? So these are some wrong mindsets of some people who wants to start the startup, but it avoids them to do so. Okay. Okay, so the rule of BML, build, measure, and learn. That's why we said that your startup, it doesn't have to be perfect. Your idea, it doesn't have to be perfect. You have to search for basically a scalable business model, and then you need to test. You need to test your business model. Later, we discuss about the methods of testing as well. And then at the end, you have to learn, you have to decide whether you are going to continue with the same model or you are going to refine it or change it completely. Okay. So here are actually the things that we are going to focus on today. We are going to pick a problem. So it's going to be your task. Okay. I will give you some minutes in every section here. You are going to pick a problem around you. And after that, you are going to design a small MVP. So the MVP, maybe you heard about it. It's a minimum viable product. Have you heard about this word, MVP, before? Definitely. Okay. And then choose a test that you can run this week. Okay. So you are going to propose your idea. And then during this week, you are basically going to test it, whether it is going to be, whether it is scalable or not. And then the next one is actually a practice 60-second pitch. I was not aware that you are going to have a pitch already, but that is also going to be a good example. Okay, so First of all, about pick a problem. So what I want you to do now, you can do it as a discussion within the pairs, or you can do it solo, there is no problem. So what I want you to do is to basically see some problems around you. Maybe you just list 5 problems around you, okay? And then these problems, it can be about the campus life, daily life, your learning and career needs, because I know that some of you are coming from university, so you are living in the campus maybe. Some of you are from the schools, maybe the specialized schools or basically the ordinary schools, so you may face lots of daily problems. And then you are going to circle one problem that is frequent, painful, and also the personal. So I would like to give you like maybe about 2 to 3 minutes to think about this. You can do it in pair or you can do it solo as well. And one more thing before I proceed, do we need translation in this session or no need? So everybody speaks English, right? Okay. So you may have your 2 minutes. Please, you may discuss with your neighbor, or you can do it solo as well. Pick one problem. Actually, you can list 5 problems, and later we are going to pick one of them. Can you please go ahead? Okay, can I welcome some volunteers to share the problem that, so basically you had to write down 5 problems around you in your daily life. It can be related to your university, your studies, or actually your personal life, and then you had to circle one problem that was most frequent, most personal, or most painful for you. Okay, so can I welcome some ideas please about this from your discussions? Yes, please.
Duolingo, in my opinion, is not for beginners. Like, you have to learn the vocabularies first, but Duolingo gives like exercises when you start. I myself have tried Duolingo, and in my opinion, Duolingo is not for learning languages from the beginning. And I guess there is one problem here in Uzbekistan. I guess EduTech Academy, and it can be one of the best examples.
Basically mean that Duolingo is mainly for conversation, daily conversation, if you are able to that, but for the people who wants to learn from the basics, right? Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. Anyone else? Yes, please. Alaikum assalam.
As a student, one of the most common problems that I face frequently is losing focus while I do my lessons. As a solution, I used to use an app called Detox, but I can switch this app off anytime I want. And I'm thinking of a solution to have a more strict filter for apps that I can have on my phone. Or an app blocker, but more strict, because Detox is not. That's the most frequent and painful problem for most of the students.
So not being able to focus on your studies, right? Okay, that's good as well. Come on, please have your ideas. Yes, because we are going to work on those ideas today.
So one of the biggest problems in the world now is unhealthy lifestyles. For example, eating foods that harm our bodies and our minds too. So I was thinking, what if people would get some rewards, because we are used to rewards, we do something if we get rewards. What if people get rewards if they have a great lifestyle? For example, eating fresh foods, never sleeping, and doing sports.
Okay, thank you so much. Anyone else? Yes, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I think not about from these categories. I have problem with the environmental. It's a pollution, any kind of pollution, water pollution, air pollution, and solutions about this.
Okay, so what kind of app are you suggesting for that app or any other types of startup?
For this, I think apps couldn't help. Gas pollution can only people can solve this problem.
Okay, okay, you got the idea. That's the first step. Yes, please.
Can I give my solution to some problems?
Yes, of course.
Yes, we have problem. Yes, climate is changing, but the thing about this that young students, especially like from grades 1 to 4, they don't know how to act. They lack climate awareness, and to fix this, let's create an app that gives them mini challenges paired with mini facts about those challenges.
Increasing the awareness, right? Okay.
If they complete it, they can get points and redeem those points to rewards. The rewards should be designed to encourage them to implement long-term eco habits like using thermos instead of plastic bottles.
Okay, thank you so much. So I got some good ideas here. Now let's sharpen our basically problem by using this problem ladder that I included in here. So most of you already done the first part. You wrote your problem in one sentence. You just told me about it. And then now the thing is that when you want to start a startup, you should ask the question why from yourself. You should ask okay, you already spotted a problem, you already identify a problem. Now you should ask yourself why this problem exists. Okay, you should ask until you reach to the root of the problem, because it's very important that you identify the root of the problem. Okay. So that is the next one. And then who feels it the most? So for example, you just mentioned about the pollution. So all the society, they actually feel it the most. There was other students who mentioned about the app to track the students. I mean, for the parents to track their children. So that is going to be the parents who are feeling it the most. Okay, so these are the important questions that when you are starting the startup, you should have it written. So you should ask yourself why 3 times until you reach to the solution. Until you reach to basically the root of that problem. Okay, so I think unfortunately some of you do not have the pen and pencil, apart from some. So maybe you can use your phone in order to fill this for me, those who already shared their idea. So basically, the first step is about the customer. So you already spot a problem in the first step, and then you already know the root of this problem as well. You know what is causing this problem. So in the next step, before you design your MVP, what you have to do is to identify your customer for the product or for the service or whatever you are going to offer as a startup. You need to basically identify your customer. Okay, there is one quote I think I included in one of the slides that I will show to you later, or maybe it is not here. Okay, but anyways, there is one quote about the customer for the startup. It says that if you don't know your customer, you build for everyone and you reach to no one. Okay, so if you don't know your customer, you build for everyone, but at the end you reach to no one because you do not have a target customer. So in order to have a target customer, this is actually going to be a good basically template that you can fill. So who are your customer, what are their ages, what are their roles, and in what context. So example, let's say 19 years old engineering students, or you just mentioned about the parents, okay? Or you just mentioned that you cannot focus on your studies, right? Or you talk about the basically the pollution. So you have to see who are your customer, and you have to identify the pain that they are experiencing. The next is going to be the goal. So with your product, with your service, what is it going to be changed? Okay, what change you are going to offer to your customers. And then at the end, the triggers, when does it show up? When does it show up the most? So let's say in the case of the parents, they cannot track their children. That's mainly during the academic year, not during the summer maybe, right? Or the pollution is always the same, right? Or sometimes the pollution gets higher. So that is actually an important question. And the constraints, so the constraint that your customers are facing. They are facing financial problem to get your service or product, or they are having the time problem in order to follow your product, okay, or services. So that one is also important. And also the early adopters, who are going to be the first people who are going to use your service, who are going to use your product. So that is a very important template that you should basically have it before you design your MVP, because when you are designing, when you are building your MVP, everything depends on your customers. Okay, so for those who gave the ideas and also those who didn't have any initial ideas or something, can you please think about this, basically this format, and I will ask about 2 to 3 people to share their ideas. Okay, those who already mentioned the problem, you can just continue with the problem that you mentioned in here in order to fill this one. Those who didn't mention any problem, you may still think about what problems exist around you, choose one of them, and then you start to basically fill this one for me. Okay, if you don't have a pen and pencil, you can even use your phone to record it, but I will give you about 2 to 3 more minutes to think about this. Thank you. Can you go ahead? It's not yet finished. It's not yet finished, so please go ahead with this form. If you have a question, you may ask about the form. If you didn't get the idea, you may ask. I will help you. Anyone is ready to share? Yes, please.
Well, good evening.
Good evening.
I found a problem that many students who study bachelor's degree have problems with money. It's maybe because they have no economic literacy from their job, like they do in Japan. For example, kindergarten students have their own bank accounts and learn how to manage money from their very young ages. So what is that bachelor students, for example, they receive scholarships and they may be even receiving money every month for how they are studying. But many have struggles that they spend money in the beginning of the month, but they won't have any money left at the end of the month. So what I recommend is that money or amount of points given to the students should be after every test they score. For example, if they fail the first test, they don't get much points, but until the next test, for example, there is 1 week. So if they will try harder, they will get more money. So. Okay. So who is your customer here? Bachelor degree students. Okay. And what's the pain that they are facing? No money at the end of the month, right? Okay. And what's the goal of your product? Help them manage their finance, right? Okay. And triggers, when does it show up? At the end of the month, right? Yes. Okay. And what are the constraints for your customers, for the bachelor students? They should have money for accommodation.
So it's finances, okay? And the early adopters, it will be also the bachelor students, right? Okay, thank you so much. So that's how you have to fill this template. Thanks a lot. Anybody else is ready to share? Yes, please.
So every student or every teenager who is aged from 18 to 30 will face the problem to get their first internships or jobs. So our customers will be the people from age of 18 to 30, I mean university students. And so triggers, when does it show up? When they complete a course or university, they suffer for getting their first job. So
jobs, okay.
The pain is the problem that I said.
Unemployed, yeah, okay.
Constraints is a time also and clear strategy. What should they do first, or what requirements have they to get their internships?
Okay.
And my goal, my product's goal is providing clear strategies and clear tasks for them to prepare their first interviews and tasks. And all the adapters will be university students.
Okay, the graduates, the 4th years. Okay, yes, please.
So, choosing a career. Our audience is students for 9th and 11th grade students. What triggers their problem is like, for example, it was for me choosing L's. I was triggered Pain is uncertainty, fear of choosing a wrong major,
Okay.
maybe forcing by parents.
Yes, that's right. Okay.
Constraints might be money. For example, consulting is very expensive, or time. Maybe they won't have the time to try every single thing that they are interested in.
Okay.
Goal is to choose a right and successful major that we are interested in.
Okay.
And early adopters will be motivated students or students that are trying competitions, same subjects that they want to be successful.
Okay, thank you so much. So, thanks a lot for sharing. Now, if we go to here, so far what we have done is actually you already picked the problem for those who shared their idea. So you already picked the problem, and now we are going to, regarding your problem, you already identify your customers as well. So now what we are going to do is actually to design a small MVP, okay? So let's see first what does it mean by the MVP itself, because most of the people who wants to start a startup, they think that the MVP, it means that they need to have a product, a small product or a small service in there. But that's not so. The MVP is basically a simple experiment. You just have to do an experiment. You already have the idea, you already know your customer. So now you need to do a simple experiment to see whether your whether your product or your idea it has a future, whether your customers that you define, they are already interested in your product or not. So here is actually the thing. MVP is not a tiny product, so do not think about that. It's just an experiment. Okay, as I mentioned, you just need to perform an experiment. So you can see the three types of the MVP that you can perform. The first one is actually the landing page. So landing page is basically when you just create a simple questionnaire. Okay, it can be in the Google Forms, and then you distribute. For example, you mentioned about the basically the career problem for the students, and then you are going to develop a service or a system for the students to be able to choose their major, or let's say after they graduate, choose their career. Okay, so you have to do you already know your customer. Your customers are going to be university graduates or the school graduates. You have to do a simple questionnaire or a kind of Google form survey from your customer. Okay, that is the most simple MVP that you can have. So I hope I could establish a proper definition of the MVP. MVP is not a product, although we call it a minimum viable product, but it's not a tiny product or a service that should be ready. It's just an experiment on the customers that you have defined, revolving the problems that you defined earlier. Okay. So the next one is the concierge MVP. So you will do the service manually. Let's say you start to offer a service on WhatsApp, okay, or on the Telegram. So this is going to be an example of the concierge. And then the wizard of the OZ basically MVP. That one is going to be, it looks like an AI, but the people who are behind the scene are the human. It's not completely AI. Okay, let's say you may think about the ChatGPT, that you may think you are talking with the AI, but actually there is somebody who is sitting behind the system and answering the questions that you are giving them. Okay, so these are the three types of the MVP that basically we have when you are starting a startup. Okay, so about your business model, in a very plain language, I put it in here. Value. These are the three things that you should define. Value. What are you going to offer? Okay, that's the first thing. What are you going to offer in your product or in your service? The next one, customers, which we discussed about it. Who is going to use your service? And at the end, the money. How are you going to earn the money? Because the whole idea of the startup is to earn money, right, for everyone, right? You are not going to offer something for free. Okay, so the whole idea is to earn money. So of course, that is going to be the next important one. Okay. So, as I mentioned at the beginning, when we discuss about basically the definition of the startup, you should validate your startup quickly. Okay. In the definition, we mentioned that, if you remember, I gave you two definitions, right? One of them was about searching a scalable business model. The other one was about growing fast. Okay. So when we talk about the growing fast, it means that you should validate your startup quickly. whether you are on the right track or not. Okay, so these are some types of the validation that you can perform. The first type is basically 5 customer interviews. You already know your customers, so just do an interview with them. And what you have to be careful in here is actually the rule of the thumb here. Measure the behavior. Do not rely on the words only. You should measure the behavior of your customers, whether they are really feeling the pain or not, the pain that you defined in the previous slide. Okay. And then the next one is going to be a landing page. So as I told you, just leave a sign up page. Those who are interested in this product, please sign up. So at least you will see how many of the people are interested in the service or the product that you are going to offer. The next one is going to be a fake door test. So you will just, when you are doing a questionnaire or something, or when you do a presentation about your product, you can just leave a button there, try. So the people who are interested, they will press, and then you are able to record, you are able to track the record of those try. Those people who were interested and actually press the try on your presentation. Okay, so that's what we call it, a fake door test. And the concierge test, so you start to provide your service or product through one of the platforms, maybe you start to communicate with your customers. And then the next is going to be the pre-order, which you are all familiar, even not for the startups. Like whenever there is a product, there is always a pre-order for it as well, right? So you can offer this thing not like you are starting selling your product or your service already. It's just to see whether the basically the market is ready or not. Okay. I tell you one example of basically my own startups. In Malaysia, when I was in Malaysia, we started a startup which was a website. It was called ExamMate. So maybe you are familiar. Anybody doing A-levels among the students here, Cambridge A-levels? Okay. So are you familiar with the website called ExamMate? Okay. That is my website. Okay. That is my website. So when we were in Malaysia, we thought about the website. There were so many websites that the students, they were facing problems in accessing the basically topical past papers. Past papers are like the questions of the previous years, okay? Or arranged notes for the revision for the exams, okay? There were so many websites, but they were not organized, they were not arranged. The students, they face difficulty when they choose a chapter. There were so many websites, for example, physics and maths tutor. But there was a problem there. The topical past papers, it was not organized. It was like they take from some years, they forget some of the years. So we thought about a website that we can collect all the topical past papers from the year 2012 until the year 2020, let's say, until the current year that you are now, and also put the answers as well. So when the student, they see the question, they can check their answers as well. Okay, that was the initial idea. We started from a very simple website. Now those who are familiar with the ExamMate, we even added the AI answers. We added so many things in the mock exam creators and these things, and daily it is becoming more refined and refiner. Okay, so that was one of my basically successful stories. Why it was successful? Because before we start that website, before we opened that website, we actually did a market research. We saw that, we went to some of the colleges and we found out that the students who are doing the A-levels, the Cambridge subjects, they actually face difficulty in finding the proper resources for their exams. Okay, so that was the idea. It worked in Malaysia because the number of the students who are going to do the A-levels, Cambridge A-levels or IGCSE, there were a lot. Almost half of the population of their students, they are doing this course. So that's why it was okay. But when I came to Malaysia, when I came to Uzbekistan, my second startup, which actually failed, okay, I started a small learning center offering the Cambridge AS and A-level, and it failed. Guess why? Any ideas? Yes. Okay, and that is a problem. So what's the root of that problem? What do you think?
You didn't study the market. You didn't learn the customer.
Exactly. Yes?
A-levels and A-levels are in English. And
Yes, that's right. Exactly. So I didn't do a market research before the startup. That's why it failed. I recently closed down the learning center. Why? Because before that I didn't do a market research on the schools to see what percentage of students they actually can speak in English. That's the first thing, which you mentioned, the language barrier. The second was that whether the culture of the Cambridge system and the AS and A level is well established in the country yet or not. Whether the parents know the importance of these types of certificates or not. I didn't do these types of market research. That's why my startup failed this time. Okay, but when I did a market research in Malaysia about the website, it actually worked. Okay, now I took some of my share from that website, but I know my colleagues who are working in Malaysia on that website, they are now earning about like 40 to 50K dollar per month. Okay, that's a huge amount of money from a simple website that just offer the past papers, right? So that's why it's basically it's all about the customers that you are targeting. It's all about researching the market. Okay. So regarding the pitch, so we are towards the end of the session. As I told you at the beginning, we are going to have a pitch at the end. Those students who already shared their idea, I basically template as well, and then we will have some volunteers, but not from the same group. Someone brave enough to come here and do a pitch, and then somebody else are going to ask some questions. Okay, I will let you know what questions also you are going to be asked. But first of all, can you please try to fill this thing? That's going to be basically the first step of your MVP. Can you please fill it? Thank you. I give you for like 3 to 4 minutes to do this. It's going to be a pitch. I'm going to ask you to come here and share your idea. Answer these questions. And there will be another person from the other groups who will ask you some questions as well. Okay, that's very good. Do you know actually there are some websites that one of them I forgot its name, but there is one website that support the startup that you can just put your product in there, and then you will start to attract the customers, and the customers, they start to invest on your product, and you can set a limit for your investment. You will say that once the investment it reaches to, let's say, $10,000 or $20,000, you are going to produce that in bulk. Okay, so there are some websites. If you were interested, later I will share my contacts here. I can send you all these resources. They are actually useful. There were one of the, like, for example, you mentioned about the scarves. In those startup websites, one of the simple products that I have seen is actually for the shoes that you need to tie. You know, you need to tie the shoe. So the person who was basically presenting a product there, it was a guy from China. He actually created a simple model that you just put it on your shoe, and then once you pull it up, it will automatically tie your shoes. Okay, so that was one product. Or there were some other products like a small bag for the mountain climbers, which was like a full package. It was like a small fridge, it was like a speaker, it was like first aid kit and everything in there. So they got enough customers, they got enough investors, and once they reach to a certain investment, the website will give you this money and you can actually start your product. Okay? So I will share it with you later. Yes? Yes, of course.
So hi, my name is Seyd, and the problem is we have artists and we have buyers. Artists cannot sell their work, our local artists, and the buyers cannot imagine that work in their house, in their wall, with their lighting, with their furniture. So why now? Because we have more than 3,000 artists in Uzbekistan, but less than 5% sell their work consistently online. So our solution is a platform that connects artists with buyers, and we will bridge, and we will have also framing, delivery, and installation. So it will be more convenient for buyers. So then, what makes it different, as I said, it's a platform that will help customers to visualize or imagine their work in their homes, cafes, maybe restaurants, hotels,
Mm-hmm.
and etc. So how we make money? We make money from subscription and commission.
Commissions,
So,
yes, okay.
Sales 12%.
Mm-hmm.
So what we need now? We need we need rich customers. I didn't understand.
So you
that part.
target the rich people
Yes.
who can afford the artistic products. Yes, that's fine. That's a good actually startup. Who is studying here from the NUU, New Uzbekistan University? Okay, I saw one of the startups from the students of your university as well. They were actually creating an app for the learning centers. So the learning centers, they could actually put their lessons in the app, and the students and the parents could do a comparison between the prices of these learning centers, the courses that they offer. And also in the learning center, usually you have to pay for the full months or maybe a certain number of sessions. But in that app, you could actually get the classes for just for one trial lesson. Okay, it was a very good startup. I actually supported the student when they explained to me about this. So yeah, these are some examples that I tried to share with you. Yeah, the apps. Anything else? Sorry? Lumi, yes, it is Lumi, yes. So you know about it, right? Ah, your course mate, yeah, okay. So, and yes?
So, hi, I'm Raqamli. The problem is in Uzbekistan now, many students who completed the IT courses are suffer to get first jobs or internships. So, why now? Because if we see the statistics, they showed that in 1 month about 300 vacancies remain unfilled, and out of hundreds candidates, one or two get accepted. And our solution is providing interviewing and skill assessments for students. We are also providing companies to have a way to find the right candidates. What makes it different? We have some competitors like IT skills, screenings, and others. And what makes us different is we only focus on IT, tech, and we only provide our assessment till students get their first job. And what we need to do next, we need to make how make money. We provide premiums for students to get premium assessments. Also, we charge companies to access candidate profiles, and we will get money for each successful hire. And what we need to do next is making partnerships with more universities and making our product is more scalable and modern.
Okay, that's very good. So that's a kind of like local LinkedIn, right?
Yeah.
That you can, but with more features, that you can basically have a direct collaboration with the students, with the universities and these kinds of things. Yeah, that's a very good idea. Yes, please. Yes, of course. Yeah, of course, feel free.
So hi, I'm Nazima, and the problem I'm going to give solution is that yes, we all know the climate is changing, global warming is happening, but the problem is that young students do not know where to start, how to start, and that is a problem. So why now? Because climate is changing now, they have to take action now, and our solution is that it is mini app that gives mini challenges and also rewards action. What makes it different? We also plan to partner with universities, so students can report their volunteering hours to universities, and it gives them something to send out. And how we make money? We advertise eco-friendly businesses in in our platform and make money from that. And also we plan to share subscriptions and what we need next. So we need to partner with universities and also we need to gain users.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Okay, so, yes.
Hello everyone, my English isn't very well, that's why
Feel free.
Well, I'm Aziza, a geography researcher, and the problem is uncontrolled tourism development that damages natural resource. That's why now? Because as I said before, climate change and tourism pressure are increasing, and our solution, my solution, is a geese-based tourism, sustainability, and carrying capacity model. What makes it different is the integration of NDY, LC index, and other remote sensing and spatial analysis. It helps decision makers plan sustainable tourism. What we need next is pilot support.
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Okay, so that is fine. I will skip this slide. Okay, now your 7-day, so before we go to this slide, now you already know basically what to do first. The first thing is to spot a problem. Whenever you want to start a startup, you should think truly about the real problem that exists around you. You can just look at yourself. What are the daily problems that you are facing, and you think about how you are going to solve these problems. That was the first step, which was the idea. Okay. The second step after the idea, it was what? It was to find out your customers, right? To define your customers. So once you define your customers, you need to validate that. You need to validate your business before you design the MVP, because you don't want to work for 6 months and at the end your startup fails, right? So you have to think about your customers. Who are the customers? And I gave you some ideas previously about how to validate them. There were 3 types of the MVP that you can do. And at the end, you are going to build your MVP. You are going to build your MVP, but your MVP, again, I say, it's not going to be a tiny product or a service. It can just be an experiment. That is the first step. So here is going to be your 7-day startup challenge. I won't be here with you for 7 days, but you can practice it for yourself. So day 1, pick one problem which you did today, the first step of the entrepreneurship. Second one, the day 2 is talk to people, 3 people, interview them about the problem. You just mentioned about the, let's say the climate problems. You mentioned about the finding the right career. You mentioned about finding the basically right, how to say, the major in the university. You also mentioned about basically those things about for parents, it's difficult to track their children and these kinds of things, right? So that is going to be talk to 3 people and do the interview with them. And then at the end, choose one of the MVP styles. So I introduced you 3 types of MVP styles. So the first one was the landing page, the second one was concierge, and the last one was wizard, right? Wizard of Oz. So these are basically the 3 types of the things that you can choose, and test it with the 5 people. No need a huge one. Test just with 5 people. They can be relatives, they can be your friends. And then measure that. So once you do the testing, you can measure, as I told you, some of you can have a fake door trap, and then you can have a Google Sheet form, you can have a survey. So there are different kinds of methods that you can measure it and improve one thing based on the data. So you have done the interview, you collected some information from the other people, what they think about the problem that you mentioned to them. So you are going to improve one thing, and then at the end you are going to pitch to a friend or relative, okay, about your startup. So that was just like maybe a surface of the whole ocean. As I said before, myself, I haven't done any speech about the startup before. It was all experiences that I shared with you. As I told you about my successful website, that it works well and it is still working well, it was because we did all of these things step by step. First of all, we spot a problem. Our problem was that our students, the students in Malaysia, they had difficulty in accessing the notes for the revision. They had difficulties in accessing the past papers, the topical past papers, the questions of the previous years. That was the problem. Okay, and then the second thing was that we reached to some of the customers. We went to some of the school and did a market research, whether they are interested in buying a product, buying a subscription of a website that provide everything in a classified version, like for example the notes, the past papers and everything by just clicks for all the subjects. So that was the next one. And then after that, we started the startup after we had a good market research, and it was really successful. So if you follow up these steps, you can turn your basically ideas into action. That was the main purpose of this presentation. So if you have some questions from me, I'm welcoming those questions. If you do not have, we can end this session. Thank you so much for your attention. Are there any questions? Are there any questions from me? No questions. Okay, thank you so much. Thanks a lot for the organizers as well.